Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sina Nejad, and I'll welcome you to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of February 26, 2024. If you would, please call the roll.
Chairman Najad,
Here.
Commissioner Beatty,
Present.
Commissioner Jabbar is absent, Commissioner Jabia is absent, Commissioner Javed is absent, Commissioner Linton,
Present.
Commissioner Macon,
Here.
Commissioner Noyola,
Here.
Commissioner Senegar.
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Harris is absent, Alternate Commissioner Sorrell. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, again. We're going to start with the approval of the minutes. The minutes of the meeting have been distributed to all the members of the commission. I would entertain a motion to approve and/or make any revisions to the motion, to the minutes.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Great. So now we're going to get started on the first case, which is PZ 2024-17.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Jared Riggenbach is requesting to abandon a 6-foot wide sanitary sewer line easement at 4595 College Street. Redevelopment of the property for an O'Reilly Auto Parts shop requires the sewer line to be rerouted to accommodate their plan, which necessitates an abandonment of the existing sewer line easement. Planning recommends approval of the request with the following condition. Number 1, a new easement and sanitary sewer line to be dedicated to the city. On the screen, the area outlined in red is about where the sanitary sewer line is. It's at the southern property line of Lot 8 in the College Acres addition. And this is the site plan. This is the subject property. And then the easement, so bring my mouse over here. The easement is right through about the center of this. So as I understand it, they're going to reroute the sewer line easement and also dedicate that to the city. And this will be together as one once it comes to city council.
All right. Any questions for the lady? Is the applicant in the audience?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
If you would state your name and address for the record and give us any additional information you might have.
Sure. Jared Riggenbach with Baseline Corporation. We're at 1750 C Mist Drive in Houston, and the zip code is 77008. I'm here to answer any questions you might have or provide additional information.
Great. Does everybody understand what we're looking at? Any questions for the gentleman? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we have the recommendation from the city, and this doesn't require public involvement in here, so public comment. So with that, I would look for a motion.
Motion to approve file PZ 2024-17 with the one condition.
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. If you would, let's go to PZ 2024-25.
Fitz and Shipman have requested approval of a replat of lots 6, 7, and 8, block 1 of the Level Lake Estates addition into lot 7A and 8A, block 1 of the Level Lakes Estates addition, Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas. This site is located within the city's extraterritorial jurisdiction. The intent of the plat is to increase the property size of lot 8A by shifting the eastern boundary line 18 feet to the east. Planning is recommending approval of this request. We did send 10 property owner notices and received 1 in favor and 0 in opposition. On the screen, the area outlined in red is the subject site. And this is the plat. So going back to this one real quick, this is the boundary line. It's going to shift east about 18 feet to increase this property's lot size. I do believe that we have the applicant in the audience.
Any questions? The applicant? Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Good, how about yourself?
Very well. If you would, give us your name and address for the record, and also give us any additional information as why you're doing this.
Good afternoon, my name's Braden Gott, and I'm speaking on behalf of Fitch and Shipman, 1405 Cornerstone Court. And the owner of Lot 8 is just wanting the line shifted over 18 feet to fit in expansion of his driveway and building a small shop. That's it.
All right, and I'm assuming that everybody's in agreement with this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions for the gentleman? Thank you, sir. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? None is heard, so we close the public hearing. We heard from the staff and also the representative of the owner. With that, I'll look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. PZ 2024-3.
I think it's 2-6.
Oh, well. Yes, ma'am, 2-6. I'm sorry, I went one too far.
Wiley Infrastructure Group has requested approval of a replat of land out of and part of blocks 17, 18, 23, and 24 of the MC Cartwright subdivision into lots 1 and 2 Stone Oak RR Industrial Subdivision, Beaumont, Jefferson County, Texas. The intent of the plat is to give adequate street frontage to lot 1 for future development of the property. Planning staff does recommend approval of the request. We sent 13 property owner notices and received 0 in favor and 0 in opposition. So on the screen, the area outlined in red is under review. This area is largely light industrial. This is the plat. So the intent, and I'll go back to this picture, it'll be a little bit easier. Right now you can see this lot cuts off access from the cul-de-sac to this lot back here. So what they're proposing is to come in right about here and extend a lot so that they have adequate access to the cul-de-sac, which is 25 feet. That's our city's minimum, so they do meet our minimums. This is the plat again, and then a close-up of it. I believe we do have the applicant in the audience.
Great. Any questions? Mr. Rowe, good afternoon. Haven't talked to you in a long time.
Tom Rowe, Whiteley Infrastructure Group, 655 Langham, Unit 14. As Demi said, this is a unique little piece of property. It's at the end of Stone Oak Industrial Development. A gentleman by the name of Gary Babineau has owned a lot of that property, has owned most of it. And we fell underneath some of the old rules where we could cut this track up and have some ingress and egress easements. And then it finally got to the point where we needed to come in compliance with ordinance. And so the whole exercise is trying to give that, what we're calling Lot 1, access frontage on Stone Oak Drive. So it's a little strange plat, but trying to get in compliance with city ordinance is the whole purpose of this replat.
So is the dotted line the only part that we're talking about?
No, sir, it's kind of hard
Shared,
from here. Yeah, Demi's kind of pointing at it. That little
yeah.
strip is part of Lot 1 now, what gives them access, even though there's some shared access easements that were previously constructed and previously dedicated. To be in compliance, they needed to actually own fee ownership to touch the cul-de-sac, not just an easement.
Okay.
So they will be now in compliance. And a company by the name of Raggle is the one who owns the property of what is Lot 1, and they're waiting. This whole process has been able to give them an address so they can construct a building. Now they will have their address and they can go forward with their development.
Even though the actual piece of land is 400 feet away, right?
Yes, sir. It's just a long skinny driveway.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Rowe? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to open the floor to public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? Again, none is heard, so we close the public hearing. We heard from the staff and also Mr. Rowe, and I would entertain a motion.
To approve.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. This concludes our planning meeting. Do we have, we don't have quorum, okay. We shall wait. Tom, you're not going to entertain us while we're waiting? Sir. Okay. I have no joke. I just offered in case you change your mind. Have a good day.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Well, good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start our second half of the meeting with the city council, and the Honorable Mayor West will get us started.
Yes, sir. Mayor West? Present. Mayor Pro Tem Turner is absent. Councilmember Durio?
Present.
Councilmember Felchaw? Present. Councilmember Getz? Present. Councilmember Neild is absent. Councilmember Samuel is absent. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for today's joint public hearing of the Planning Commission. This is a joint meeting with quorums of both the Planning Commission and the City Council. The Planning Commission will vote today to give recommendations to the City Council. The items will then come before City Council in 1 to 3 weeks for a final decision. The only opportunity to speak on these items will be at the meeting today. There will not be a time available for public comment when they come before City Council. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank everybody for coming. I'll turn the meeting back over.
Thank you, sir. We're going to get started with PZ 2024-3.
The City of Beaumont Administration requests approval to amend sections 28.04.004 and 28.04.008 of the City of Beaumont's Code of Ordinances to reduce the minimum required setback in the Planned Unit Development District and cluster housing developments. A setback is a required buffer from the closest edge of a permanent structure to the nearest property line. Currently, our ordinances require 25 feet from all public street rights-of-way and the boundary of the development. Our ordinances identify an exterior side setback of 10 feet in other zoning districts to be adequate distance to avoid site obstructions. It is typical of a planned unit and cluster housing development to house individuals who wish to have smaller yard sizes with larger homes. These are commonly referred to as patio homes. To meet emerging development trends and community needs, staff recommends approval of the setback requirement to be reduced from 25 feet to 10 feet from all public street rights-of-way and the boundary of the development. So having said that, again, this is just for cluster housing developments and the planned unit development district. This would not be for your residential single-family or residential multifamily zoning districts. It should be noted that for planning, development, and cluster housing, those would have to be reviewed by Planning Commission and City Council prior to actually happening. So when we do that, we do internal distribution. And with that internal distribution, we take into account traffic and the site obstructions there and whatnot. So it still would go through due process if we were to reduce this setback for these two types of developments. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, is this mandatory, or it would be a voluntary for people building these homes?
It would be voluntary, so it could be, those are just minimums. You can't build any closer than if you were to, you and council were approve 10 feet, it would be a minimum. So you couldn't come any closer to the property line than 10 feet, but you can always move away.
So there is possibility of having houses not being at the same line?
There could. Typically, planned unit development is like your master plan communities. So they normally have set on plats their standards and setbacks that they want, but this is giving them the option to actually have more buildable area on the lot. Instead of restricting them to, 25 feet if it's a corner where there's, a street coming here and a street on the front. How the ordinance is right now, it would actually push the building to sit back 25 feet from the front property line and also the exterior property line, where our other ordinances allow for 10 feet or 10 to 15 feet, depending on the orientation of the lot. But it's really restricting buildable area for some of these lots. So to be fair to these master plan communities and cluster housing, and also to meet the emerging trends of patio homes and whatnot. That is why we're suggesting that this, or recommending approval of this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions?
I have a question. So if someone other than the planned unit development or the cluster housing development wanted to utilize the 10-foot setback, could they request it?
So it would have to be, if they were to reduce it in any other zoning district, it would have to be by way of variance. And for a variance, you have to have the burden of proof. So basically, it would be, some lot sizes that are grandfathered as they are very, very small. So our mandatory ordinances that require certain setbacks may not work for that lot, so they would get a variance through the Board of Adjustment. And if it's found that it is a just request, then it may be approved by the Board of Adjustment.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so that is a motion from the request from the city, right?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right, so I would open the floor for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve file PZ 2024-3.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Hi. This is a public hearing thing, so you do have to open it up for public hearing.
Know that.
It didn't say on my sheet, but we would comply.
So it's a joint, because it's part of the joint public hearing, you still have to ask if there is anyone who wants to speak, because remember, they won't be able to speak about this at council when it comes back to council. So just in case there is anybody.
Fantastic. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? 5 seconds, okay? It's heard, so we close the public hearing. We've already taken a vote and the motion and the second, so are you okay with that?
Unless anybody wants to change their vote.
No.
No.
Okay, so the motion passes. Thank you. Let's go to PZ 20249.
Charles Evans requests approval of a specific use permit to allow a church at 2190 Milam Street. Proposed activities include church services, Bible studies, and Sunday school. Historically, this site was a church, although records show water services were terminated in 2015. Due to the extended vacancy of the church use, this site is no longer considered a legal nonconforming use. Our ordinances require a church located in residential zoning districts to obtain a successful SUP, or specific use permit. It should be noted that this property currently has existing litter and weed violations. These cases would need to be resolved with the city prior to an issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Additionally, upon inspection on February 23rd, 2024, which was last Friday, it appeared work was being completed without the benefit of an approved building permit. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the request with the following conditions. Number 1, shall remedy all code violations associated with 2190 Milam Street prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. Number 2, a parking lot permit shall be obtained and illustrate the proposed parking lot layout to be in accordance with the city standards, including installation of wheel stops to delineate spaces. Number 3, shall be in compliance with section 28.04.006 landscaping and screening requirements if the parking lot increases 25% or more in the number of parking spaces. Number 4, construction plans must meet all requirements by water utilities for water and sanitary sewer services, including any requirements of the city's backflow, pretreatment, and/or fog program. Amending condition number 5 to say, construction plans must meet all applicable fire and building code requirements, including obtaining all applicable building permits. Staff did send 16 property owner notices and received 0 in favor and 0 in opposition. I do believe that we have the applicant present. Oh, I'm sorry. And on the screen, outlined in red, that's the area or the subject site. This is aerial photography of the site. This is the site plan. This is the subject property. So off to this side over here, it is grassed over, but as I understand it, there is gravel that is along this side of the building. It's just grassed over at this point. Properties to the north, to the east and northeast, south and southwest, I'm sorry, south and southeast, to the west, and we do have the applicant present.
Any questions?
I've got a question. Number 3, that condition, the 25% increase, how many parking spaces do they have now?
So that would be
Since it's
identified.
gravel and covered with grass.
That would be identified through that parking lot layout. At this time, I'm not sure. But that would be identified through the parking lot permit. Now, if for the 25% rule to kick in, that would be if they improved the site with like pavement or concrete. So that 25% would not necessarily kick in at this moment, but if in the future they needed to improve the site with concrete, then it may be required.
Okay, thank you.
Even if we allow them to continue with this, but if they come back and put concrete in there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they just could put bumper stops, right?
Yeah, wheel stops would only be required at this time.
Only if they have enough gravel.
Right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, what if they decided to use the backyard for parking? How would that work? The back of the property? Seems to be a lot of space back there.
Back here.
Yes.
They would most likely have to submit that in the parking lot permit, and if it were found that it was not disclosed in that area, then they would need to submit for another one and work with our traffic engineer to remedy any insufficiencies.
That and also the fire marshal. He's gonna have a say-so for all access to all parts of the building, so.
Yeah, it just seems that the side of the building is just not enough space for parking.
And to show this area, well, we'll go here. So it is about 65 feet. Looks like it's about half of that. So there's about 30 feet, more or less, on this side of the building.
That's enough for parking, 30 feet?
Well, we'll let the
Well, I'm
city
done,
engineering
Tim.
would look at it, right?
Okay,
It's-
I was just inquiring, yeah.
Yeah, the issue is just to turning around and coming back this way, yeah.
And to add to that, as I understand it, and our traffic engineer can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that the standard parking lot or parking stall width is 9 feet, and then the length is 18 feet. Yes.
Great. Any other question? Nope. Okay. Is the applicant in the audience? Good afternoon, sir. How are you? You feel like telling us any more about your project? You can just sit there and if you please just introduce yourself and give us your address.
Bishop Charles Edmond, 3735 Perk Place, Beaumont, Texas, 777.
All right. Can you guys hear him? Or does he need to be close to the microphone?
I don't know why you want me to be the bad lawyer, but it is being live streamed, so it would be great if he could
You know,
make his way to
I
the
would have
mic.
been really happy with you being out there, but the attorney wants you to walk all the way down.
It's me.
He won't good.
Seems she's happy now.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my name is Charles Edmond, Bishop Charles Edmond, 3735 Perk Place, Beaumont, Texas, 77708.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Give us any other information you might have, please.
Well, she said some work was being done Friday. it wasn't work being done. I'm not gonna ever disrespect the city. I'm gonna abide by the city rules. But the guy was only saying, is it worth our time? By looking at it to see worth our time trying to fool with it or not. So if he either said no, then I probably wouldn't came today. I'd probably say just cut it. But when he was digging in, looking to see is it worth my time, then yeah, we can do this. I said, okay, then let's go forward. But we weren't trying to go ahead of the city and do anything outside the city. We'd never do that.
So he was doing exploratory work?
Right, see if you want to fool with it or not.
All right, sir. Do you do understand that the building has some deficiencies that has to be corrected, right?
Yes, that's true.
All right. And then the city is gonna look at the amount of gravel you have and if it's gonna work with the number of parking lot, and then you need to comply with the number of parking spaces. And also, one of the issues that I don't think we've talked about, you can't have gravel for ADA parking, so you probably have to have some concrete for ADA parking.
Okay,
All right,
we're prepared for that.
perfect. And how many people you think you're gonna be having in this church, sir?
Right now, 5 or 6.
Okay,
So we probably have 3 or 4 cars.
perfect. All right, great. Any questions for the gentleman?
I do. Do you actually own the property?
It's owned by the Church of God in Christ.
Okay, I just saw the letter. It says that you were the owner. That's why I was trying to get some clarification. And it's been empty since 2015, is that correct?
I'm not quite sure. The bishop called me and wanted me to work on this project and for me to be over this project, but I'm not quite sure what happened to the last person that was over.
Okay,
I'm not quite sure what happened.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I have a comment. We're going to pray that your membership increases.
I need that. Thank you very much.
Well, then the parking lot's gonna get bigger.
That's what I'm talking about.
Actually, the parking lot, like he said, is big enough.
Gotta get it put up.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, sir, go ahead.
I said, actually, he was right. The parking lot, when you drive in there and back out, there's plenty of room to go in and come out, 30 feet.
Okay.
Which actually about maybe 35 feet. It's just plenty of room. Go in and come out.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? We closed the public hearing. We heard from the staff and also the applicant. They did some exploratory work last week, and we're going to let them deal with the city inspection department in that respect.
She's got a comment, our attorney.
Before you call for a motion, I would just like to add that there was an amendment made to condition number 5 or item 5. So the motion, we need to say all conditions as amended. If that's the will of the commission, of course.
Yes, ma'am. Perfect. So we heard from the staff and also the owner, and I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the amendment and the conditions.
Second.
Kind of, sort of, okay? Okay, great. So we do have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
You did second?
I did.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any in opposition? The ayes have it, and I'm assuming there was no other discussion. Fantastic. Let's go to PZ 2024-15.
DRC Construction requests approval of a specific use permit to allow a duplex at 5445 Garner Road. They intend to demolish the existing structure and build a new duplex to rent. This could increase housing stock in Beaumont and offer a variety of housing types for tenants who do not wish to reside in an apartment. Staff recommends approval of the request with the following conditions. Number 1, construction plans must meet all requirements by water utilities for water and sanitary sewer services, including any requirements of the city's backflow pretreatment and/or fog program. Number 2, construction plans shall comply with all applicable fire and building code requirements. And number 3, a 4-foot sidewalk shall be installed along Garner Road. Staff sent 18 property owner notices. We received 0 in favor, but did receive 4 in opposition. Opposition states this will change the neighborhood, and I do not want to see that. Section 28.02.008, this is me saying this now, not in opposition. 28.02.008 subchapter D of the city's code of ordinances state that council shall not amend, supplement, change, modify, or repeal any regulation, restriction, or boundary or approve a specific use permit where protest of such change has been filed by the owners of 20% or more of either the area of the lots included in such proposed change or the land immediately adjoining the same and extending 200 feet therefrom, except by a favorable vote of 3/4 of all members of city council. In this case, the 4 in opposition comprise 28% of the surrounding land area. So this would have to have a supermajority vote in favor by council to pass. On the screen, the area outlined in red is the subject site. This is an aerial photography of the site. This is the duplex site plan. Subject property, so it includes the structure directly in front and the structure to the right, that is a garage. Northeast, north, south, and west. And I do believe that we have the applicant and the owner present.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
No, I have a question for you.
Go ahead, please.
On this duplex and looking at the property size, they're gonna take the existing structure away to build this?
Yes,
And is it gonna be just one duplex or multiple duplexes?
it would be one. This site has one lot to it, so they couldn't put more than just one.
Okay.
Are they gonna demolish the garage too?
Yeah, what about the garage?
We do have the applicant, so he'll be able to, I'm under the impression that they would, because it's not on or noted on the site plan.
Now, can they come back and divide the lot later?
They could, but it would have to meet city minimums.
Okay.
And depending on where the lot line is, oriented, it may require maybe an amended specific use permit or a variance. It depends, it just depends on the orientation of the new lot, if they were to create it.
Any other
Any
questions?
more duplex in the area?
None that I'm aware of, in the immediate area.
Great. The applicant? Hello, good afternoon. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Caitlin Button, 8952 Wingfield Drive in Lumberton, Texas.
Fantastic. Do you have any additional information that you'd like to give us?
Y'all questioned the garage. We're hoping to have the garage remain since it's further back from the house and use it as a storage purpose.
For the two duplexes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So are you gonna amend this site plan when you go for the permit?
Yes, sir. I actually have a updated site plan here that does show a 4-foot city sidewalk on it. It wasn't submitted with the permit. I missed that, but yes, it is amended and it has the 4-foot city sidewalk on it.
And the size of the duplex gonna be essentially the same as the size of the existing house?
It is roughly, gonna be about the same size, maybe just a little bit bigger. It's 250, 130. Roughly 1,200 square foot each side, so 2,400 square foot, give or take.
The building is 35 feet away from the street line.
Yes, sir.
Good. Any other
It's
questions?
gonna be a 2-bedroom duplex or 3-bedroom?
It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath on each side.
With dining area
Yes, sir.
combined?
Yes, sir. It has 3 bedrooms, including the master, with the living in front and dining in the back.
Will it be open area in the kitchen?
Yes, sir.
Open area.
Yes, sir.
Does DRC Construction currently own the property?
We do. And the owner's here.
Any other comments, questions? And each one of these duplexes, how many square feet are there roughly?
It's roughly like 1,200 square foot, give or take.
How many?
1,200?
700?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that house is bigger than what it looks, doesn't it?
So you got 2,400 square feet total, right?
Give or take, yes, sir. I don't have the math in front of me, but
Both sides.
yes, sir.
Have you talked to any of the neighbors?
I have not personally.
Have you heard from any of them that complaining?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
No other questions, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Looking at that T-shirt, I didn't think you're going to be against it.
My name is Tom Cockrell, 6495 High Point Avenue, Beaumont, Texas, 77708.
Yes, sir, go ahead, please.
You had mentioned, has anybody mentioned, we get a lot of complaints because of the house itself. And so it's kind of overgrown, it's a little dilapidated, a little blighted. We tried to raise the house, it's flooded multiple times. So we just came up with this as an option because if we rebuild the house as a single family, without assistance from maybe a program or anything like that, then it's a lot of out-of-pocket expense with minimal return. So what we chose to do and thought might be a good addition would be to put the duplex there. And if we do that, the 322s, then we could offer more housing. As you may or may not know, we have a 125 lot subdivision down the street just a little ways. And those are homes for sale that we're trying to build affordable housing to bring to Beaumont. We didn't know, this is our public hearing, we should have probably turned this in, it might have been made as 19%, but we didn't turn this in time as one of the residences for the project. But I just wanted to mention that too.
Is that in flood area?
It's not in a flood area, but it's kind of low lying, and not only does it flood from the pipes underneath the house, so we would have to pick the house up. We've had to rework the plumbing underneath the house a couple of times.
You go elevate the slab?
It's a pier and beam.
Will we pier beam?
Yeah, I mean, no, the slab will, when we rebuild the house, it'll be on a slab and it'll be, proper.
You elevate
We'll-
the slab?
We'll raise it, at least to the, probably the crown of the road at least to make sure, because I don't think water goes over the crown there. There is some sewer and drainage and storm issues at the corner of Concord and Garner that we've been watching, over the course of time in heavy rains. But yeah, so we just thought it would be a good idea to do that because we don't know what else to do with it. Otherwise, it's just gonna remain there. And one day we're worried you're gonna show up with a little red tag on the door that says it has to be demoed. So, but thank you very much.
One of the questions,
Yes, sir.
you said you had, I know you do construction on other single-family homes. Is this the first duplex you're doing?
It would be the first duplex, yes, sir. We have we've done sixplex, other multifamily residents around town. We have a sixplex that we built that's on Harrison, when that was a different style, with the sprinklers and such. This would just be a simple duplex.
How long have you owned this property?
I would say 2015. We've been, having it and maintaining it.
And was it rented before?
We've people have stayed there. Getting rent for the house itself has been kind of challenging, and that's why we wanted to put a proper facility that was up to code with the proper, facilities in place that would be able to generate an income. It's kind of like I say, it's a little blighted.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? We closed the public hearing. We heard from the staff and also the applicant. They do understand the supermajority vote required by the city council. And with that, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
Second.
to approve, and we have a second. Any discussion?
Is that with or without the conditions?
Preconditions.
With the
condition.
three conditions.
Did they have a condition?
And the second is with the conditions, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. The Honorable Mayor will send us home.
Thank you all for coming and, good afternoon.
I'm surprised the neighbors didn't show up.
There's only one guy and he lives in Orange. 25% is one guy.
We used to